Hey, what's up? This is TJ. Thanks for joining me today. I've got something so cool. It is the Emeo. Look at this thing. This is the world's first digital saxophone that is actually a real saxophone body. This sucker is metal, right? Real saxophone keys, real saxophone actual mechanics that are involved, mechanisms, pads, the whole deal, right? But it is all, see, digital, all right? It is a MIDI controller that works either through USB, you can plug that right in here, or through Bluetooth. Let's check it out. All right, so let's have a closer look at this. I'm going to bring this puppy right in so you can see it. All right, take a look at that. This is the vintage finish. It comes in two other finishes, that being either a black or a classic gold finish, right? Flip that around. Beautiful. And this isn't some kind of like cheap student horn either. All right, it doesn't feel that. It feels like a real pro level saxophone. Amazing, right? Now you'll see here, another very cool thing. It comes with a curved neck. It also comes with a straight neck, right? A little straight neck that goes in there. Okay, you see that? There you go. All right. I wish all MIDI, wind controllers, players came with a curved neck. This is so much more comfortable to play rather than it sticking out like this all the time. All right, it's really, really difficult. I like playing soprano sax every once in a while, but I don't want to play it all the time. I much prefer playing an alto style. This is really, really great. And it also comes with this mouthpiece. I've got a cap on it. A mouthpiece protector, I guess you say. Okay, this looks like it's made, from 3D printing. Okay, it is antibacterial. All right, so this works very well. You could also use your own saxophone mouthpiece. It takes alto saxophone mouthpieces, so you can use that as well, or you can just use this. All right. The one thing it does not have, though, it does not have a bite per se. It doesn't have the ability to bend with the mouthpiece. So that is something that may be of concern to you. This thing is actually very well made, as I mentioned to you before. All right, I don't know if you can hear it. Let me see if I can get it closer to my lab mic here. All right. You can hear the key cups, just like a real sax. But it is very quiet. Very well made. I'm going to guess these are, like Asian built, bodies per se, maybe Taiwanese type horns, right? It has very much that type of thing to it. It is, again, a real saxophone mechanics. Now, the only difference between this and, say, a real saxophone is the hand positions are a little bit closer together than you might find, say, with a soprano or an alto. Probably about as close as you would see with a sopranino sax. That may or may not be, important to you. It doesn't really matter to me, but it is something that some people have pointed out in the past that I have seen. This has been out for a few years now. I just found out about it, and I'm really, really excited. I've played a lot of wind synthesizers in the past, the WX5, the EV-5000. I currently own a Roland AE30 Aerophone, right? But this one takes the cake. This is the best one I've ever seen. Now, it doesn't make any sound on its own, right? You're going to want to hook it up to your computer, or to a iPad perhaps, or to one of your hardware synths. So in this video, I have a number of different synthesizers here in the studio. I'm going to be playing some examples of it. All right, now you might be wondering, well, it's a real saxophone mechanism. There's only really one button on here, right? That's the power button right there. There we go. It's the power button right there. And there's 3 lights there. They are what is known as traffic lights because they have green, amber, and red. Okay, and they indicate the battery, right? And they also indicate the on, and they also indicate different conditions of the setup of the saxophone. Now you might be asking, well, how do I set up the saxophone? Well, there's 2 modes here. This is the play mode. It's right now, so you can play it, right? And then there's another mode in which you can do commands. You can actually change different settings. In here, you can change the octave up or down. You can change the key, that being either concert C or E flat or B flat. You can change the resistance level that you need to get in order to get the amount of play that you want out of it. I kind of prefer the middle of the road one. And let's see what else. You can change also the MIDI channel. Okay, there are up to 6 MIDI channels that you can use with this. So you would actually do that by holding the 2 bottom keys here, right? The C sharp and B flat keys here, and then you just blow in there, and it puts it in the command mode. And you can see that it'll start blinking, okay? And when you change something, all right, here I'm going to put it in C, it stops blinking. Now the saxophone is in C, right? One thing is it does not retain those settings as of now. So every time you get on it, you're going to want to actually change those settings to your taste, okay? I have been told there's a firmware update coming, so some things may change there. Hopefully that happens really, really soon. So, I mean, if you like B flat at a different resistance, different octave, and so forth, you're going to have to set it up every time that you turn it on. All right? So that's the difference. And there's not a whole lot of settings on this, so that could be very easy to you, or it could be, a little bit limiting per se. As I said, I've been told that there is a firmware upgrade coming, so there will be a lot more options with this. And also there should be some kind of app, maybe a web app or something like that, where you can do the settings without actually putting it into the command mode via the 2 keys here. Okay, it does send velocity. Okay, it sends breath control messages. That's MIDI CC2. Okay, so it does have some additional abilities to control. It's not considered to be a full MIDI controller, say something like the AE30 or from Roland, or the EWs or stuff like that. It's mostly designed to be a practice instrument for saxophone players. Keep that in mind. But it certainly has the capability to be a fully functioning controller. Okay, you'll see later in the video I've paired it up with an expression pedal from Boss. So I'm going to show you that in a little bit, and it really expands the ability for it to be a MIDI controller. Okay, you can see here as of now, it's not plugged into anything, right? So there is an internal battery, and that is rechargeable. No AA batteries or any of that kind of crap that you have to put into it. It's a rechargeable battery. It has a service life cycle, they say, of about 5 years or more, and I'm sure there's some way to replace it if need be. Okay, so that's really, really great. I really, really like that. Always did not like, when you have to put batteries into your different controllers. It also can charge via USB, and it will charge as you are playing it via USB if you need to. So if you want to use this for Bluetooth applications, say for example, you want it to be wireless and so forth, you can do that via wireless, and the charge will be there for you. I think the charge lasts about 6 hours. That's what I've been told. But I haven't tested it that long, obviously. All right, the Emeo comes with also a really nice carry case, soft case. All right, this thing's really nice. All right, lots of room, lots of pockets. Got straps inside here. All right, lots of pockets. Let's open it up. Really nice case. This instrument is so nicely compact, right? So that's obviously a really nice feature, something really easy to take to a gig. All right, so let's talk about pros and cons. Some of the pros I've already discussed. The obvious pros, you're getting a real saxophone, body, mechanism, keys, a beautiful looking instrument, and I have to call this an instrument. Many wind synths, I wouldn't really call them instruments per se. They feel like cheesy plastic. Even the more expensive ones still have that kind of plasticky feel to them. This does not. This feels like a real saxophone, a beautiful instrument, and this is one of the reasons why I really am excited about the Emeo here. Okay, so that's the big one. It has low key noise, as I mentioned. All right, hold that right up to my mic here. That's not very noisy at all. That's a sign of a very well made saxophone. So that's really great. Well made and well set up. All right, let's see here. It has the straight and the curved necks. I love the curved neck. All right, very cool. I mentioned that before. Okay, it has the user selectable resistance. So that's also very helpful in terms of how hard you blow or not, right? You can use your own alto mouthpiece, so if you're very comfortable with your own mouthpiece, you certainly can use that. That's also a big plus for a lot of folks, particularly if you're using this for a practice saxophone. It does send continuous controller messages, that being for breath control, CC number 2, that's the MIDI controller for breath control. So that's great. I have been told it's going to be able to do more than that, okay, with a firmware upgrade supposedly coming out soon. So I hope to see that soon. Let's see, if it charges via the USB, that goes right here. I don't know if you can see that, but it goes right in there. Okay, so that's also great. It has a long-lasting battery. That's also great. Let's see what else we got here. I got a list over here I'm looking at. It does come with the included Respirio software, soft synth, so that's great. I really like the sound of that. Let's see, the design is very compact. I really do like that. And again, it comes with a nice carrying case. And one of the very important thing is the support on this is excellent. When I received this, I had a couple questions, a number of things, some suggestions, and so forth. I have exchanged a number of emails back and forth with the company. They have been very responsive, and I'm very delighted to know that, because this is a significant investment, right? This is not inexpensive. It ran about, I guess with the shipping and everything, about $1,600. So it's not a cheap thing, okay? But you wouldn't expect it to be when you have all this, quality that is built in, and that it is a real instrument. Frankly, compared to a real saxophone, it's actually a bargain in terms of the pricing. All right, some cons, some of these cons I think are going to go away with this firmware upgrade that I had mentioned before, but I'm going to just go through what I see right now. Okay, there is no pitch bend with the mouthpiece. There's no bite control. That's something that's usually common with most wind synthesizers, controllers, so that may or may not be something that's a big deal. I find it is not such a big deal because oftentimes it's very difficult to control, even more difficult to control the pitch on a wind synth oftentimes, or at least more obvious on a wind synth than it is on a real saxophone. So that's up to you, whether or not that's important. The command mode itself, when you put it into there, it is a bit cumbersome. It only takes one command at a time, so every time you want to change you know, another command per se, or another setting. You have to re-put it into command mode and then change that setting. So if you've got a whole bunch of different settings that you want to do at the beginning of every session, it's going to take a little while to do that. Again, the firmware upgrade and hopefully the app that comes with that will allow you to do all those settings all at once. And it does not retain those settings either through each power cycle, so that may also be important. Hopefully that's something that they can fix. One thing that it does do, it does power on when you plug the USB in there, and you might think that's great, and it is great, okay? But it does not power off when there's no way to power it off when the USB is plugged in and or is receiving power from a source, okay? That I don't really like because it means you have to continuously plug it and unplug it. There's a command to turn it off, okay? And in order to save the actual connection here. There is a mode where it will turn off after 20 minutes on its own, which is great. So you don't necessarily have to turn it off. It'll turn off on its own. But when you replug it in or turn on your studio power, like I often do, it'll turn on again. So that may or may not be so great. I would like the ability to have that shut off if possible. That being it being able to turn on its own. I want to be able to do it not turn on its own if possible. Let's see what else. Bluetooth. Bluetooth is only available right now for Macintosh computers. Sorry, Windows guys. I know. You always get the stick sometimes. And it does not work for iOS, iPad yet. Whether or not that's going to happen, I don't know. But right now it is only for Apple Macintosh computers. Now this is just a note on Bluetooth in general with MIDI. I've always found it's not particularly reliable, and this isn't just with the Emeo, it's with all kinds of different Bluetooth types of applications via MIDI. So, you know, I would never use it at a gig myself. Not just with this, but with other Bluetooth applications. You're in a room with, you know, 100 different cell phones, all with Bluetooth interference going on. I'd much rather use the USB connection here, right? That's what you want to use. But it's available, it works, you know, and it's probably best to use just in the studio. At least I think so. What else? As of now, there is no Altissimo fingerings. I'm also told that that is coming. So that'll be really great. It'll extend the range of the horn and, you know, allow you to practice your Altissimo fingerings that you often use for the sax. So that's something that's very, very big. It does only have 6 MIDI channels instead of the full 16. I don't know if that's such a big deal, right? 6 is usually enough, but again, it might be something important to you, so I should mention it. Lastly, as of now, again, I'm told this may change. Breath control is the only continuous controller message that it will send. Some, particularly hardware synthesizers, don't accept breath control. They don't have any way to route that to any kind of parameter. They may be able to route things like aftertouch or modulation, okay? Those are different controller messages. There's no way to change that as of now. I am told that that is something that is coming, again, in a firmware upgrade. So again, some of these things are now just wish list items. Hopefully they come to pass very, very soon. But as of this video, I just want to mention them. And again, this also goes back to one of the pros that I mentioned, and that is the support that this is getting. These people obviously really, really love what they're doing. They love the creation that they're making, and you can just see it in the work here. Okay, let's see. We want to talk a little bit about the price again. I want to mention that one more time. Okay. This is not an inexpensive wind controller. You know, this is probably, I would say, top of the line, right? Okay, it's not a cheap thing. But when you compare this to a real saxophone, the prices that those things are going for right now, for the pro level that this horn is obviously is, it actually is very, very inexpensive, and it's a great option for practice if you are a serious player. Me, I'm one who's more interested in playing it with all of my synthesizers here in the studio. And next in this video, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to noodle around, show you that, and show you how you can actually put that together. I've actually paired it, as I mentioned before, with my Boss expression pedal. Let me pull that up here. There we go. All right. Right here, I'll show you that in the camera. Okay, that is the Boss EV-1-WL. Where do they come up with these names? Anyway, this is an expression pedal. All right, this will allow you to, you can do it with a pitch bending, so you can make up for the bite control that doesn't have it on there. You could do the pitch bending on here, okay? Or you can route this to expression, to the modulation wheel, anything that you like, and get a lot of additional expressivity, I guess you could call it, if that's a word, with the Emeo and all of the other synthesizers that you may use. Obviously, you can also use it with the software synthesizers. I think a lot of people will want to do that with Swarm and so forth. So you can do that. Me, myself, I'm more interested in wild sounds and synthesizer sounds more than realistic sounds, although I do like some of that. So that's why I've chosen to plug it into all of my synthesizers here in the studio. So without further ado, I'm going to let you check that out. Excuse me. I just want to ask that if you do like the videos that I'm doing here, you got to subscribe, hit the bell, do all that great stuff. Check out tjontheroad.com for more, and I thank you again for so much of your support.